And we are live. This is Canada Hoops Daily Podcast, and we are here breaking down Game 4 of the NBA Finals. And what a game. That was just an insane basketball game. The Oklahoma City Thunder come all the way back in the fourth quarter to win 111 to 104 and even up the NBA Finals. This was a great basketball game from top to bottom. Again, my name is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Thank you for tuning in live right after the game. Remember, you can catch the podcast multiple different places afterwards on Apple and Spotify. Just search Canada Hoops Daily, or you get all the Canada Hoops Daily content on YouTube. Just search Canada Hoops Daily or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you will find all of the whole great goodness there. Big shouts to the people watching live, though. Don't be afraid. Send in a comment or question as you see fit, as we will discuss this game at length, because there is a lot to discuss. If you want to be part of the conversation as well, best way to do that is through the socials. You can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Shai Alexander, or on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Again, 111 to 104 victory. What a crazy game that was. The Oklahoma City Thunder just pull off an epic comeback led by their MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who did it all, right? Like, he literally down the stretch carried the team on his back to victory. And the Indiana Pacers, if you're Indiana, you got to feel like you blew that game. This game almost looked like, so if you've been following this pod, right? If you've been following a lot of the narratives about just what this, series has been in terms of, Windhorst talked about this, Indiana's belief that if they get the game to be close at the end, they feel as if they can win. As long as the game's close, they feel like they can win it because they trust their play in the clutch more so than Oklahoma City in the clutch. And listen, that's just been what the playoffs have shown us so far, that in crunch time, Indy finds a way to win these games. And Oklahoma City, their offense becomes stagnant and they can't really find ways to score. Well, in this game, it almost seemed to go the opposite direction because it was Indiana's offense that stalled and couldn't figure out a way to score down the stretch. Meanwhile, Shai was just putting points up on the board. And the two things that stand out to me the most, if you're Indiana, and yes, you were up for the majority of the game, OKC closed this game on a 12-1 run. Again. Let's start this from the top. I know I'm a little all over the place, but that's just because so much craziness just happened, okay? So you got SGA leading the way with 35 points, 15 points in the fourth quarter to lead his team to a 111-104 victory and even up the NBA Finals at 2 games apiece. OKC now is 6-0 after a loss in the playoffs. I can't believe it. The Pacers had a 7-point fourth quarter lead, but Oklahoma City closed on a 12-1 run, and somehow this series is tied 2-2. I sent out a message to one of my boys that simply said, I think OKC's done. Like, I thought the game was over. I thought OKC was going to lose. And then even watching it happen, watching the comeback occur, it was so weird because it's almost like the two teams that we've normally seen switched jerseys. And Indiana was the one that couldn't make plays down the stretch. And that's normally what we see from OKC. And I'm going to read 2 stats because there's going to be a lot of reasons why Indiana is going to be super upset that they lost this game. And yes, blowing fourth quarter leads, that's crazy. But in this game, from 3-point land, Indiana was 11 for 36. So they made 11 threes in this game, okay? Which is low for them. They take and make the most threes in the league, right? The flip side, Oklahoma City only hit 3 threes. Again, 11 3-pointers made for the Pacers. Oklahoma City hit 3. And one of those 3 from Oklahoma City is from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it was right near the end of the game. So you spent the majority of this game just winning a math equation, essentially, because you had way more threes than they did. and you lose this game. The other number I want to bring up, because this was a theme that I talked about from the last game, and if you paid attention to the series, the key for Oklahoma City to win was they needed Shai to shoot efficiently and the assist numbers, okay? The assist numbers were down in the last game for Oklahoma City. In this game, they're only at 10. You flip over to the other side, Indiana had 21 assists. So you win the assist battle, you win the 3-point battle, and you lose this game. Just a crazy, crazy. I don't want to call it a choke job, because I feel like that becomes too often of a narrative where it's just so easy to say, oh, they choked. But you let that game slip away right out of your hands. And when you talk about this game, I mean, you could look at this series, could have just slipped away from the Indiana Pacers, pardon me, because you were minutes away from going up 3-1. And not that 3-1 ends the series, because obviously you're going back to Oklahoma City for 2 out of the next 3 games. But the point remains, if you go up 3-1, you don't even need to win a game on the road. Just win your next home game. Do you know what? Like, the series flipped so much in that fourth quarter. And I honestly thought Oklahoma City was done. Watching this game, it played out so much like the last game, in which Indy was just in control and Oklahoma City's offense didn't look good. But credit where credit is due. The MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, closed out this game for his team. I mentioned 35 points. I talked about his efficiency, 12 for 24. And most of that work, the efficiency part of it, was in crunch time. Just an epic, epic performance from Shai. 35 points again, above the 30-point mark. And we know already, because we've been seeing the numbers, that you're in rarefied air when you're talking about dudes putting up 30 pieces like that consistently in the NBA Finals. So what a crazy game. The unsung hero, and I mean, I say unsung because I know it's kind of a cliche, because you're going to hear a lot of it, but Alex Caruso. The Oklahoma City Thunder get blown out in this game if not for Alex Caruso, who put up 20 points off the bench, 7 of 9 shooting, and 5 steals. The thing about Alex Caruso's buckets, though, was he was getting the buckets at parts where it seemed like OKC desperately needed a bucket. And like, the lead would be at 8, Caruso would hit a 3. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things where whenever they needed him, Alex Caruso was there to hit a big shot, on top of doing the other Alex Caruso things that he does, getting in passing lanes, being disruptive, being a pest, getting on the glass, like all of these things, right? This game, though, really just came down to the Pacers, because I really think the Pacers blew this game. The Pacers were winning this game. They're in control of the entire game because the way that they were playing, their offense was moving. They were passing the ball. They're swinging it from side to side. Guys were getting open looks. And I think down the stretch, things got kind of stagnant. Halliburton you could tell, couldn't decide. Did he want to take the 3? Was he comfortable taking the 3? Was he driving all the way to the lane? Because he had some success getting all the way to the cup. But in crunch time, there's a lot of indecision. And it led to a lot of bad possessions. And I'm seeing this quote from Rick Carlisle. He says, "We got stagnant, but give them credit. They kept attacking, and their defense was great down the stretch." Like, it was a crazy, crazy game to watch. So let's break it all down, because obviously so much to go through. And a lot of this game, the interesting part to me is going to be the fact that, the majority of this time, it's all Indy. It is all Indy. And I don't even know how OKC was able to pull this off, but it was almost the game that, if you go back to our last pod, and I said, I was talking about how, on the road in the playoffs, especially in the NBA Finals, you need your star player to make plays for you down the stretch. Keep it close, and hope that your star can win. And they didn't make the plays. It didn't happen in game 3, but it definitely happened in game 4. So let's break it down, because the first thing everyone's talking about is Isaiah Hartenstein back in the starting lineup. And to me, it wasn't so much about who starts. It's more about the minutes distribution. That to me is the bigger part. You need Hartenstein to be playing over 20 minutes, and he did in this game. And, his 6 rebounds are huge, but also he's a great screener when Shai's trying to bring up the ball, even Shai in the half court. Like, he does so much for his team that it's not so much about who starts, it's about the minutes throughout the game. The flip side of that, though, I thought Cason Wallace, who he started for, Cason Wallace was horrible in this game. Like, he just looked shaky, didn't handle the ball well, a lot of turnovers. Anytime you see someone drive into the lane and they sort of jump to throw a pass, but then get caught up in the air, you just know they're not in it. And that was an interesting flip there from, Cason Wallace in the starting lineup to Cason Wallace coming off the bench. Interesting to see what's going to happen in game 5. But as mentioned, starting lineups, a little bit different, but didn't really matter because the roles were flipped in this game completely. Much like I said, a lot of these games are about thinking, what can OKC make plays down the stretch? The start of the game was also the flip side of the story. What I mean by that is Indiana got out to a great lead. That hasn't happened in this series. Every game was about OKC being in the lead, having a good first quarter, and getting out to the start that Indy did in this one. Halliburton's hitting logo threes. He's feeling good. They led early on in this game, and they were making all the hustle plays. Miles Turner was beating Hartenstein to the glass, getting layups and one. Nembhard with a big-time 3. He played great. And one thing we'll get there, but the defense Nembhard was playing on Shai, huge, huge, huge. But Indy, to me, was just a team playing super confident early. They looked like they just believed that they could win this game, that they were the better team. Like, that was the energy that they were playing with, that, just looked like a team that was confident after their last victory, a team that was confident in their ability to make Shai have to work, right? And a tough, tough, tough loss for Indy, but early on, they're rolling. They started off this game 9 of 12, and things just looked super easy. Halliburton and Nembhard were just cooking OKC on the pick and roll, and Miles Turner or Obi Toppin were just hitting those foul line jumpers like it was nothing. Things were super easy. But credit to Jalen Williams, who played really well in this game, and especially early on when, before Shai really got things going, Jalen Williams, he was just focused in the way that he was playing, the way that he was going to get his points. He was going to go downhill. 27 points for J-Dub in this one with 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 of 18 shooting. But I just like the way that he was not going to be stopped from getting to the cup. And they needed that. They needed that badly. So OKC, they weathered the storm early. Lou Dort able to give them threes, which kept the game tight. Also, game tied at 24 with 4:30 left, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes to the bench. And this is interesting, right? This is interesting because normally Shai plays the full fourth quarter. As mentioned on the broadcast, Doris Burke said Shai's last 9 games, he's played the entire first quarter. But in this game, they sub him out with 4:30 left in the first quarter. And you're really just extending his minutes. Obviously it's a tie game, so you got off. It's not like you're down early and you need him to step in and keep the game close. But you're also trying to save his legs for the end of the game, because what appeared to happen is he looked gassed at the end of these games, unable to get the buckets late. So maybe you could cheat him and get some rest early on. Interesting, especially how the game played out, but we'll get there. So Shai to the bench, mentioned Aaron Wiggins coming in, and they're trying to just get something from their bench, right? Because the bench was outscored so badly in the last game. What was the number? 49-18 were the bench numbers in the last game. So they're just trying to get some help from some other guys coming off their bench because they have a lot of guys. So it's a matter of trying to fit the puzzle pieces together. Who's going to be the guys to stand up and put in work in this game? It seemed for a while you didn't know who it was, and then Caruso made it known. But before that, Jalen Williams, outside of Jalen Williams and Caruso early on, that was the only reason that OKC was still in this game. Jalen Williams was cooking. Alex Caruso was cooking. Other than that, their offense was out of sync. They couldn't get into their offense at all. but Indy couldn't really take advantage of it, despite the fact that, Siakam got off to a really good start in back-to-back games now. Pascal Siakam's been really good early on. He had 10 points and 4 steals in the first 8 minutes. So he was playing great early. But I mentioned Alex Caruso. I mentioned Jalen Williams. These guys were just making plays on both ends of the floor. Caruso with the huge steal, and then it could have been a foul call, could have called a foul there, but, the refs letting them play on that one. And Caruso takes it the other way for the lay-in. And at that point, you trust and you lean in on your vet. And Caruso is the veteran of this team. Obviously, he's a guy that has a ring. He's been in these big games. He's not going to be thrown off by the road crowd because that crowd is going bonkers. And Caruso unfazed. So it's not that surprising that he's the one that they can rely on and he's the one that comes through for them because he just played a great, great, great game for Oklahoma City in this one. And I thought, I thought that for Oklahoma City, just as good as they were able to play in this one, Alex Caruso, I thought was able to just elevate his game and be the guy to really help Shai before he started going, and also Jalen Williams. So by the time Shai gets his early rest, he comes back in the game and he's just cooking. Mid-range jumper from the elbow. Then he misses a 3 right before the buzzer, but Kenrich Williams is there for the putback. And those were the little plays that OKC weren't getting in game 3. The plays that they were able to get in this one, getting on the offensive glass, getting the extra possessions, those things are so, so, so important. It was only a 1-point lead for Indy at the end of one as they led 35-34. But after the early rest, SGA continued to get in the paint, continued to cook. And he had to because he wasn't getting much help from Cason Wallace. TJ McConnell comes back in, and he's a crowd favorite. He had the crowd fired up in Indy. The crowd was just going crazy. And the difference between the veteran bench, of Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell versus the young guys, other than Caruso, right? Like, notice the trend. The old guys, they're used to this. They're used to, the pressure, the playoffs, consistency. What's the thing? What's old Raptors coach Sam Mitchell used to always talk about? What do I know that I'm going to get from you every game, right? Like, that's what I need. And you're going to get energy from TJ McConnell. It was just interesting to watch just his impact on the game because you want that. You need that, especially when Halliburton plays a certain way. McConnell can come in and still emulate that. It's not going to be at the same level, but the drop off, you're not worrying about him costing you the game, essentially. I thought, SGA at one point, he's trying to play defense, but McConnell blows by him. He had 8 points early as he had another good game for TJ McConnell off the bench, doing his job, bringing the energy. I thought he did really well in this game. Obi Toppin, as mentioned, he had 17 points in this game. But, early on, OKC, despite the fact that they were struggling, despite the fact they couldn't buy a 3, they found a way to keep it close. Chet with the huge block takes it the other way. Cason Wallace to Kenrich Williams. He gets a layup. OKC back on top, 46-45 at that point. Then we have, we saw the physical play really kick into this game. Obi Toppin with the hard foul. Hartenstein gets up, gets in his face. You saw Caruso and Siakam talking trash, Mathurin talking trash. It was just super interesting. And I like it, to be honest, right? Hard defense, hard fouls, playoff fouls, both teams getting aggressive, just the crowd going crazy because they're feeding off the energy. Just what a great sight to see. But as its second quarter continues, Aaron Nesmith with a massive 3, and then he takes a good foul call as he's fighting over the screen. Offensive foul call, ball the other way. That's one of those moments, right, where the building is rocking and you're thinking, I don't know, is Indy just going to blow these guys out? Halliburton's driving down the lane. He's making nice no-look passes to Siakam. And the first half was playing out. The end of the first half was almost playing out like the end of game 3 in terms of OKC struggling to execute, but Indy getting good buckets. Halliburton getting downhill, getting layups, gets to and one. He's now talking trash with his pops. He's hyping up his pops and his girls in the front row, and they're fired up. And listen, they're showing all the indie celebrities, all their former players. Jalen Rose is in the building and Reggie's in the building, and everyone's hype. Pacers led only by 3 points, though. And that's the thing that was so crazy. You're watching the game and you're thinking, they're blowing these guys out. But yet, every time you look at the scoreboard, you're like, they can't even get it to 10. So at the half, as mentioned, 60-57 was the score. Pascal Siakam had 14, Jalen Williams with 16. The Pacers bench, they're winning 23-18, but it's not nearly as bad as it was in the last game, which I mentioned. The last game, it was 49-18, right? So 18 bench points is what OKC had in game 3 total. At halftime, they had 18 points. They matched the whole output. Of course, the majority of that was Caruso, but the point remains. You need someone else to get some buckets other than Shai and Jalen Williams, right? So Indy, at that point, at halftime, they had 15 assists, led by 5 from Halliburton. OKC as a team, had 6 assists. To me, that was the difference in the game. OKC with 6 assists, Halliburton with 5 himself, Indy as a team with 15. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird watching this game that Oklahoma City was able to come back and win, because you would think that number would have to flip in the second half for OKC to have a chance. And no, that's not what played out. It's just crazy. So the third quarter starts, and the efficiency numbers, Shai's starting to get it going. He's doing a little bit all right, but there's still no flow to the offense. It looked like a lot of one pass, and then if it was Shai or Jalen Williams coming off the screen, they're either going to take the shot or they're going to make the one pass to Chet rolling, and that was it. There's no, the other guys are just kind of standing in the corner. No flow to their offense at all. A lot of bad possessions. A 9-2 run for the Pacers in that third quarter. Meanwhile, as mentioned, OKC started 1 of 12 from 3. Obi Toppin hit back-to-back threes. He's got the crowd hype. He's screaming. It was just, an insane run for the Pacers. And the way that they were doing it couldn't be just polar opposites between what the Pacers offense looked like and what OKC's offense looked like. OKC's offense, no ball movement at all. All the passes for Indiana. And when Halliburton wasn't passing it, he was blowing by defenders and getting layups as he blew by Caruso for the layup. Indy up 8. Obi Toppin with a huge block on Jalen Williams, then finds Siakam. Siakam back to Obi Toppin for a massive dunk. 10-point lead for Indy. And that's where things are teetering. And I'm like, OKC is hanging on for dear life. I was not very confident in Oklahoma City's chances to win this game because I watched game 3 and because I watched game 1, right? So I wasn't thinking they're going to make the fourth quarter comeback. And already you can see the changes being made to their rotation where Mark Daigneault was trying to get save Shai some legs for the fourth quarter. Well, speaking of said fourth quarter, Shai starts off and he's missing some tough shots early, but it's because Indy's making him work. Nembhard he was just all over him, fighting over top screens, making everything difficult for Shai. But Caruso and Chet were making massive plays. Caruso with a big time bucket made it. He was up to 19 points at that point. Chet on the glass. He had 2 big putbacks in that fourth quarter. This one cut the lead to 3, made it 89-86. Timeout Indy. Come back, doesn't matter. Another scramble play. SGA misses. Chet again on the glass, puts this one down for a huge dunk. Then Caruso with the steal. Caruso makes the steal on Siakam. SGA finds Caruso. Caruso gets fouled. He only makes one of the free throws, but that's enough to tie this game at 89. SGA picked up his fourth foul with 7 minutes left, and the game's tied. And it's like, oh no, what do you do? Are you worried about the foul trouble? Does he get a rest? Do you put him on the bench? What do you do? Well, he went to the bench, but he sat for maybe 45 seconds of gameplay, 30 seconds of gameplay. It wasn't that long at all. And you get it. It's like not that your season's on the line, because you can still try and come back from 3-1 down, but it wouldn't be advised. So Shai comes back into the game right away, gets to the rim. Shai gets to the rim, finds Hartenstein, which I thought Shai did a better job of late, driving and giving himself the option to make a pass. I feel like it was a lot of just Shai's driving and he's going to shoot no matter what the defenders were doing. And that drop off to Hartenstein, I thought was just a big time play. Then Shai and J-Dub, they just started cooking, both doing the job, getting downhill. This game was tied. It was ping-ponging back and forth between was it a 2-point lead for OKC, or was the game tied? Halliburton, he was ready. He wasn't settling. He was driving to the cup and having success, either getting to the free throw line or getting the 2 points. And this game down the stretch just turned into execution defensively. And part of that, as boring as it sounds, is playing defense without fouling. And one team could not do that, and that was the Indiana Pacers. A lot of free throws down the stretch, and Shai's hitting free throws. Halliburton blows by Shai for another layup. Shai hits a 3, and that was OKC's third 3, but it was a huge one as it cut the lead to 103-102. Nembhard drives. Chet and Caruso, great help defense. They come up with the steal, or I think it looked like the ball must have got tipped, because as Nembhard went up, it looked like Chet got a piece of it and it went high off the glass. Either way, ball goes the other way. SGA with the mid-range. And this play that really gave OKC the lead, I don't know if it was, you could have called an offensive foul on Shai. It looked like you could have called a travel on Shai. The refs didn't call anything. Lucky for the Thunder, but he gets some mid-range to go on the baseline, and that gave OKC the lead, 104-103. 9 straight points for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There are 2 minutes left in the game, but Shai started cooking. Again, 9 straight points at that point to give them the lead. They were down. They were losing, but Shai was making plays. And then, as I said, can your defense make plays without fouling? Lou Dort comes up with a big-time steal. He goes the other way. Free throws. Again, he ends up splitting 1 of 2. All right, cool. On the other end, Halliburton, airball. Airball's a 3. Miles Turner also airballed a 3. On the other side, what's Shai doing? Getting to the line, making his free throws. Meanwhile, down the stretch for Indy, Mathurin was getting to the line, but he missed I think 3 free throws down the stretch. And, on top of that for Mathurin, just a nightmare ending of this game for Mathurin after the great game 3 that he had down the stretch. Now, this isn't why they lost the game, but it didn't help. Between Mathurin's missed free throws and then making 2 fouls on players before the ball was inbounded, meaning that's a free throw and the ball for OKC. Like, that's a difficult way to try to come back. Like, you're just gifting them more possessions and free points. It was just tough down the stretch. They're missing free throws. OKC hits their free throws. Jam done. Give the credit where credit is due. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing it all for Oklahoma City. Again, leading the way with 15 fourth quarter points for Shai. And he finishes overall with 35 points. A big-time game for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Oklahoma City is alive and now heading home with this series tied 2-2. I'm stunned. Like, absolutely stunned. Just what an incredible, incredible game. And just all these stats that make no sense that OKC won this game. Shai had the only players in NBA Finals history to have 35 plus points and 0 assists in a game. There's only 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jerry West in 1962. That is a dude saying, you know what? We're on the road. We need a win. Get on my back. We're going to win this game. Or as what's my guy Cuffs the Legend calls it, go to hell ball. Meaning like, listen, no passing. It's just me. I'm just straight cooking. Credit where credit is due for Shai. Because listen, if you're going to play like that, you got to hope that your shots go in. You got to make sure your shots go in. It's the Mamba system. It's a Kobe system, right? Like what Shai is doing, I think we're not giving it nearly enough credit. It's just insane. OKC was able to turn on the defense, and anytime you have Lou Dort and Alex Caruso just wrecking havoc, it's going to be tough. Halliburton's trying to dance at the top of the key. Miles Turner's trying to hit like step back threes. Like nothing was easy for Indy down the stretch after the majority of the game, having it seem like everything was easy. Just an insane game all around by the Oklahoma City Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing what MVPs do. Here's a great stat from Sportsnet Stats. Again, if you don't follow that account and you enjoy sports, you like numbers, what are you doing? You're doing this whole thing wrong. But anyways, here's a stat. 34 plus points in 3 of the 4 games of the NBA Finals, okay? So here's a list. The last 50 seasons, guys that have 34 plus points in 3 of the 4 first games. Wow. If I could read, this would go a lot better, right? If I could read. Maybe I'm still like feeling the effects of the Kendrick concert last night. Little woozy still, you know? Anyways, let me try that again. Of all the stats of the work that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing, and I know I've been doing a lot and talking up Shai a lot and putting out more videos about how we need to be bigging up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because we do, but just are we watching and understanding just some of the things that this man is doing in the NBA Finals, and he's from Hamilton. Here's another one of those stats, okay? From Sportsnet Stats. Make sure you follow that account. Here's a list of the last 50 seasons, okay? Players that have scored 34 plus points in 3 of the first 4 games of an NBA Finals. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James of the 2015 Cavs, Shaquille O'Neal twice for the 2000 and then the 2002 LA Lakers, and then Michael Jordan for the 93 Bulls. Again, players to score 34 plus points in 3 of the first 4 games of an NBA Finals. Shai, LeBron, Shaq, MJ. Come on, man. What are we watching right now? This guy is putting the team on his back. We're seeing performances that we haven't seen before. Like, this is just an incredible. This was a Kobe system game. And I know, that gets mocked in the Mamba mentality and all these things, but just the fact of get out of my way. I'm taking all the shots. No shot's a bad shot. Get on my back. I'm winning this game. I'm dragging us back home. That's what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did in this one. And credit to him, because that's just an incredible feat. You want more stats about Shai? Sure. Most points through first 4 career NBA Finals games. Rick Barry with 165, Allen Iverson, 141, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 131. Giannis, 129. So Shai has the 3rd most points through his first 4 career NBA Finals games. Okay? He's 3rd on the list behind Rick Barry and Iverson. Not LeBron, not MJ. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Most points through your first 4 career NBA Finals games. Like, the fact that you're just behind Allen, like, I'm reading these stats and they're not even making sense. That's how crazy Shai has been in these playoffs, because he just continues to, the part when I keep bringing up Kobe and referencing Kobe, I forget who the broadcaster was. Was it Mark Jackson and Van Gundy maybe? But they would call the shots silencers. When you're on the road and the crowd is rocking, the crowd is going crazy, and then your big time player just hits a shot, and all of a sudden the crowd gets quiet. They got to sit back down. Like the crowd is just hyped up. They're waiting for another TJ McConnell play to like blow the roof off, and they're yelling and screaming and they're playing music and they're dancing poorly in the stands, jamming out. But then Shai just ruins the plans because he just hits a massive, massive shot. It's just crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So the one thing that was super interesting as well, credit where credit is due to Mark Daigneault. I was about to call him Mark Gagnon. Who's Mark Gagnon? Do I know someone named Mark Gagnon? Anyways, Mark Daigneault, got to give him credit. And I'll be honest, I was getting ready to come on this pod and talk about how Carlisle is just out coaching this dude. Like it's not even close, which I still think Carlisle is doing a really good job. But Daigneault made some really good adjustments in this game. One, talked about the Hartenstein move. Okay, cool. Right? Putting him back in the starting lineup. But I think what he did with Shai, getting him some rest early on in the game, trying to save some of his legs late. Also making sure that there's another ball handler in the game so that Shai doesn't have to waste energy trying to beat a press coming up the court. Great adjustment. Super great adjustment. We saw how the rest early helped Shai late. The other adjustment very late in the game, they kept running screens to get Nembhard off of Shai and get Nesmith onto Shai. Now, it's interesting because Nesmith was a guy who was, all over Brunson in the last series, right? Nesmith is a guy who's a longer defender, so maybe you would think that's a better matchup. But I think the quickness of Shai and the agility of Shai makes the faster Nembhard a better defender, a better matchup. But whichever way you view it, we've been watching this series, and you can tell the great job that Nembhard has been doing on Shai, and Shai having to fight for everything. So the key adjustment they made late in this game, you could see they would have Jalen Williams set the screen just to get, because they know Indy's going to switch that, right? Normally, what happens if Chet comes up and sets the screen, with the big guy guarding him, Nembhard's fighting over that screen and he's going to stay on Shai. But because they're making the switch to Nesmith, right? So you bring Jalen Williams up to set the screen. Now you're getting Nembhard off. And now the matchup for Shai is Nesmith. And listen, it's not the normal big that you're hunting on the switch. But if you're just looking for a better matchup because Nembhard has been playing his ass off, playing defense so good on Shai. And the other part is I think Nesmith also seems to foul Shai a lot more. So Shai was getting to the line. And you saw Nesmith end up fouling out. Just a little subtle adjustment of how they were playing the pick and roll, who was setting the pick, and getting Nembhard off of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after the great job that Nembhard was doing over and over again on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I just think, the interesting part of this to me is, first off, I'm seeing people had what was the final score in this game? It was the Thunder -6 was the final line in this game, and the game finished 101, 10 or 111, 104. Jeez. Vegas, huh? How did they do it? How did they do it? Super interesting stuff. I got to say that all in all, if I'm ranking MVPs of this game, Shai, because he had 15 points in the fourth quarter to bring your team back. Alex Caruso, you were just massive in this game. And without your contributions, OKC's cooked and they get blown out in the first half without Caruso. And then Mark Daigneault. As I mentioned, the adjustments made by Daigneault were huge. Getting Hartenstein more minutes, massive. Having Shai rest early to save his legs late, massive. Deciding that you needed to get Nembhard off of Shai late and take the better matchup for Shai, that being Nesmith, massive. Just a great coaching performance from Mark Daigneault. And it's so weird how this series continues to mirror the Denver series. in terms of OKC blowing a game in game 1, blowing out the other team in game 2, losing game 3, and then losing for most of game 4 before making a comeback in winning time. It's crazy how much this series has mirrored the Denver series. But here we are, 2-2, heading back to Oklahoma City. I watched that game, and now I've talked about the game for 40 minutes, and I still don't understand how Oklahoma City won that game. I don't get it. They lost the 3-point battle by a lot. They lost the assist battle by a lot. But you know what? Say it all the time. Give credit. Keep the game close. And then it's your best player versus my best player. And tonight, SGA was the better player. I mean, tonight and every night he's a better player. But I mean, he showed it in this game. Outstanding performance from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Oklahoma City Thunder win game 4, 111-104. Shai, as mentioned, 35 points on 12 of 24 shooting. Again, 12 of 24 shooting. He also got to the line 10 times, and most of those free throws came late in the game to ice the game. Big time performance from Shai. 14 points from Chet, 27 from Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso at 20 off the bench. On the flip side, Pascal Siakam with 20 points for Indiana and their continued balanced attack. But I wonder, crunch time, they weren't moving the ball with the same emphasis, as they did early on. And that ultimately cost them. Tough loss for the Pacers. And I mean, listen, if the Pacers can come back in game 5 on Monday and find out a way to win, I mean, I give them mad credit. If they're able to come back from this one, because that's a tough loss. Like the NBA title is within your grasp if you can figure out how to hold on and not blow a 7-point fourth quarter lead. That's just a tough one. They're going to be sick with this one until the whole way having to fly to Oklahoma City. That's going to be tough because their crowd showed up. Their bench showed up and did their job. They just couldn't buy a bucket down the stretch. And Siakam, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, those are solid numbers, but you just need a little more. And this is where you're seeing the difference in levels, right? Shai with 35, knowing that, like, I got to do this. Crazy stuff. As mentioned, thank y'all for tuning in again to this Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. We're doing this live after each and every game, but also, you can follow the podcast so you can listen to it on your morning commute. You can find us on Apple and Spotify. Just search Canada Hoops Daily. Or if you're more of a television YouTube person, you can put us up on the TV. Just go to youtube.com, search Sheldon Alexander, or search Canada Hoops Daily. You'll be able to find us there as well. Or just stick to my socials at Shell Alexander on the app formerly known as Twitter, or on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. That's how you're able to stick to me and the socials. Canada Hoops Daily socials are there as well. Lots of places for you to find the pod if you need it. We've put clips up and all that fun stuff on YouTube as well. So really appreciate everyone for tuning in. And man, I feel bad for all of those people who heading into this series were worried about like the markets or worried about who are these teams or who are these players, like just trying to talk themselves out of this not being a fun series. Cause this has been a great NBA finals. Not only is it 2-2 after 4 games, but you've gotten 4. I mean, other than the blowout in game 2, Oklahoma City blowout, which was still, good in the sense of you're seeing how a team would bounce back after blowing a massive lead in the fourth quarter of game 1. But you've had 3 of the 4 games be super good, close games at the end with the game in the balance until the final buzzer. And so if you're a fan of basketball, this has been a great NBA finals, like so good. And you're getting MVP performances and you're learning more and more about, some unsung stars and Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton, and shouts to Andrew Nemhard becoming a household name as well because of the work that he's doing guarding another Canadian in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Lou Dort having a massive series. He's shooting like, I want to say it's 11 for 18 from 3 in this series, which is insane as well. We know about what happened last game with Benedict Mathurin having his moment. Like, all in all, from a Canadian angle, from a basketball purist angle, from a fan base angle, like, this has just been a great, great, great NBA Finals. And I almost like don't want it to end. I almost want it to go 7 just because all of these games have been so good. But as we head into game 5, I'm just super interested to see what Indy's going to do, because this one, this is a tough one. We saw how OKC was able to bounce back after blowing a game in game 1. They came back with a big time victory in game 2, a blowout victory in game 2. The difference, though, is that they were at home. Indy has to try to bounce back after blowing a game, but they have to do that on the road in Oklahoma City. The other thing I'll ask people to pay attention to is check the role players. OKC's role players, you didn't really get much from Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, who had a massive game 2, was it? Right? You didn't get much from Aaron Wiggins. You didn't get much from Cason Wallace, right? You didn't get much from the role players, but you did from Indy's role players at home. Does that narrative also switch as we go back to OKC? So many things to talk about. So little time, but we'll be back Monday night to talk about it all over again. Again, my name is Shai Alexander, and as I always say, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, as always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.